In the late 1990s, while most people were struggling to connect to the internet with slow, screeching dial-up modems, one teenager was doing the unthinkable, breaking into NASA. No high-tech gear, no insider access, just a phone line, a computer, and a mind sharp enough to outsmart some of the most secure systems on Earth. This is the unbelievable story of the hacker who used dial-up to infiltrate the heart of America's space agency and left NASA stunned. 1. A teenager from South Florida. Jonathan James was just 15 years old when he began his journey into the underground world of hacking. Living in South Florida, he was an ordinary high school student by day, but a digital ghost by night. He didn't have powerful computers or expensive gear. What he had was raw talent, an understanding of systems, and a deep curiosity that pushed him further than most adults could ever imagine. Jonathan wasn't in it for money. He was driven by the thrill of discovering secrets no one else could reach. He taught himself how networks work, studied programming, and even learned how different operating systems handled security. 2. Dial-up modem magic. Jonathan's primary tool, a basic dial-up modem. Back then, this meant connecting to the internet using your telephone line. Slow, noisy, and unstable. But Jonathan mastered it. He used wordioling, calling hundreds of numbers in search of systems with modem access. Once he found one, he would patiently exploit it. It wasn't flashy, but it was effective. This method allowed him to find networks that weren't even connected to the broader internet, only accessible via direct phone dial-ins. Most businesses and agencies at the time had minimal security protecting these points. 3. Targeting government systems. Jonathan wasn't just poking around random networks. He had a goal: to break into some of the most secure systems in the world. Using basic password cracking techniques and backdoor exploits, he accessed systems belonging to the Department of Defense, and eventually, NASA. He didn't do this for fame. He wanted to understand how things worked, but his actions would spark a government-level manhunt. He believed that government systems were the ultimate challenge, and hacking them was like playing chess against a grandmaster. His successful access to military systems revealed how unprepared they were for cyber threats. Jonathan knew where to look: outdated security protocols, default passwords, and unpatched software. 4. Cracking NASA's network. In 1999, Jonathan James hacked into NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Alabama. From his small bedroom, he gained access to a computer server that controlled key software related to the International Space Station. Once inside, he downloaded source code, over $1.7 million worth, including software used to control critical life support systems aboard the ISS. He had breached the firewall of one of the world's most secure organizations, using a phone line. He even installed a backdoor to maintain access, allowing him to return at will without being detected. The stolen code wasn't just lines of programming. It was software that helped manage the station's temperature, oxygen levels, and other life-sustaining systems. NASA engineers were horrified. For Jonathan, it was a personal milestone. He had proven to himself that even the biggest walls could be climbed with the right tools and patience. But that success came at a cost. 5. The damage was real. NASA had no idea who was behind the breach. What they did know was that someone had taken highly sensitive files. As a result, they shut down parts of their network for 3 entire weeks, costing the agency over $40,000 in cleanup and repair. The breach exposed serious vulnerabilities and forced NASA to reassess its cybersecurity. For a teenager to bring one of the world's most advanced agencies to its knees was both shocking and terrifying. The downtime affected research, communication, and collaboration with other space agencies. NASA had to audit every line of code that was accessed, in case backdoors were planted or alterations made. 6. The investigation begins. When the breach was discovered, federal agencies launched a full-scale investigation. The Secret Service and NASA's own security team began tracing the digital breadcrumbs. Despite using proxy tricks and dial-up methods, Jonathan made a few small mistakes that left clues. Investigators followed the trail, and it led them straight to his home in South Florida. At just 16, Jonathan James became the youngest person ever arrested for cybercrime in the United States. His arrest was part of a larger crackdown on hackers during that time. Agents seized his computer, scripts, logs, and notebooks. 7. No denial, just confidence. When authorities arrived, Jonathan didn't panic. He didn't try to run. In fact, he admitted to the hacks, explaining exactly how he did it. His knowledge stunned investigators. He had written custom scripts, used weaknesses in network architecture, and exploited poor security habits, all with just a home PC and a dial-up connection. He wasn't arrogant, but he was clearly brilliant. Even the authorities were surprised by how deep his knowledge went for someone so young. He spoke to the agents like a peer, not a suspect. He wasn't interested in chaos, money, or disruption, only understanding systems. His statements revealed how easy it was to breach high-value networks when basic cybersecurity measures were ignored. 8. Sentenced as a juvenile. Because of his age, Jonathan was tried as a juvenile. He served 6 months of house arrest and probation, along with restrictions on computer use. The punishment was light, but his actions had left a permanent mark. His case became a national conversation about cybersecurity, youth crime, and how governments were woefully unprepared for digital intrusions. He became a symbol of what a single, motivated mind could accomplish against massive institutions. Many argued that Jonathan should have been offered a job, not a jail sentence. Others believed leniency would encourage future hackers. The debate divided the tech community and law enforcement. 9. Legacy in the hacker community. Jonathan James became a legend in hacker circles. Known by his alias Key Zero Braid, he was respected not just for the scale of his hack, but for the methodical, intelligent way he pulled it off. He wasn't in it for money, fame, or chaos. He was in it for curiosity. His story inspired documentaries, articles, and debates about the ethics of hacking. Many white-hat hackers today cite his story as the reason they chose the ethical path, using their skills to protect rather than attack. 10. A tragic ending. In 2008, Jonathan James's life took a dark turn. He was implicated in a broader investigation into a massive retail hacking ring, though he always denied involvement. Feeling targeted and fearing a wrongful conviction, Jonathan tragically took his own life at the age of 24. His death shook the hacker community and reignited discussions around mental health, pressure, and the consequences of young talent being criminalized instead of guided. What started as an act of digital curiosity ended as a tragedy. A brilliant mind lost too soon. Jonathan James hacked NASA with nothing more than a dial-up modem and determination. His story reminds us how even the most secure systems can fall to a curious mind. Technology has changed, but the lessons from his hack are more relevant than ever. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, give it a like. Subscribe for more jaw-dropping tales from the digital underground. And let us know in the comments, do you think he was a hero or a threat? /